From SF Land, this is Dorking Out, a podcast for people who love to dork out about movies, TV, and everything pop culture.
Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and I was on my way to becoming another Einstein, but then I got a haircut. Joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, Margo D. Hello, my friend.
Hello, my friend.
I am so excited because we are dorking out about 1985's Real Genius, and it is one of my all-time favorite comedies, and I'm going to try really hard not to turn this into the Chris Farley show where I'm just like, remember the time? And like quote the movie over and over and be like, I love it so much. Although I love it so much. It's directed by Martha Coolidge, who also did Valley Girl, which we just did an episode on. And if you haven't listened to it, you should listen to it. And it stars Val Kilmer, Gabriel Jarrett, Michelle Meyrink. I think I pronounced that right.
Meyrink.
God damn it. I suck. And she was also in Valley Girl. And she was also in Revenge of the Nerds. So she had like a 1, 2, 3 right there. William Atherton as Professor Jerry Hathaway. William Atherton plays dicks in everything. He's so good at playing dicks.
He's great at playing a slimy dick.
He is. And then we also get Deborah Foreman, the Valley Girl herself, makes a guest appearance. And then I forgot this until this rewatch that one of the characters named Laszlo in the movie is played by Jon Gries. Or Gries. And that is Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite. I totally forgot that.
I haven't seen that movie in a really long time.
I saw it in the theater, thought it was hilarious, watched it a few times when it came out on DVD, and then I haven't seen it in a really long time, but I had so much affection for it when I saw it. We could watch that sometime. We could revisit. It is beloved.
Yeah, totally.
If you guys haven't seen Real Genius, you should stop this and go see Real Genius because I'm going to ruin it for you by quoting a bunch of stuff. But it's about a 15-year-old genius named Mitch. That's Gabriel Jarrett. And he gets accepted early to a college. I don't know if Pacific Tech's a real school. I actually never looked it up.
No.
Yeah, but he's been kind of accepted to this college to work on a top secret laser project with his new roommate, and his roommate is Chris Knight, played by Val Kilmer, and he's kind of he's a senior who's kind of doesn't take anything seriously. He's Bugs Bunny, basically. I think of him kind of as Bugs Bunny. He's just a very silly person, but and he's so hilarious in this movie. Did you see this movie in the theater?
No, I didn't see it until I think it went on HBO. It's one of those movies that in the 80s and 90s, they played it on TV a lot.
Yeah.
So it was on like TBS or something like that. And they played it over and over again because I don't think there's any cursing at all.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think there's no nudity.
Mm-mm.
There's no sex scenes. It's like, it's different for a teen comedy at the time.
Yeah.
Because it is about smart kids, and they actually are smart and behave smart, like smart people.
Yes.
And I remember like the first time, I just laughing out loud the first few times I saw it because Val Kilmer is so hilarious in this movie. He's so freaking funny. And I just like how much affection that they have for all the characters. Like everybody has a chance to kind of shine and do their thing. Mm-hmm. And it's Pacific Tech, they call it, but it's based on Caltech.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah,
I think you nail it when you say how much affection this movie has for its characters. It's actually not. It's so different, like you said, than other teen comedies that came out. Like Revenge of the Nerds is a nasty movie. We did an episode on Revenge of the Nerds on F This Movie with Patrick Bromley, and there are parts of Revenge of the Nerds that are super funny, like pretty much anything with Booger, basically.
Booger saves that movie.
Yeah, he's super, super funny. But like the movie is problematic to say the least. But it's also mean. It's a mean movie, and this movie is not mean. Even the quote unquote bad guys, like there's a character named Kent. He's a dick, but he's apparently he's quite smart, but he's also very stupid at the same time. And
right.
even their like revenge on Kent, they still care about Kent. They don't want anything bad to happen to Kent. Like, it's a very nice movie that way, I think. And I like that it's, like you said, smart people doing smart things. It's not about like nerds and jocks.
Right.
There's some women in the movie too, which is nice. Jordan, played by Michelle, you mentioned her name and I got it wrong. Michelle Meyrink. God damn it. She plays Jordan, and she's, everybody drink, adorable in this movie.
She is manic pixie dream girl times 10.
Yes.
Everything she wears, you could wear now.
Yes.
Like, it's 35 years ago. You could drop her in time right now in Brooklyn and she'd fit right in. Like the haircut, the outfits, just her quirky demeanor. She's so freaking adorable. And everybody, like I said, is smart and no one is apologetic about it. No one's made fun of because they're smart. Whereas in other movies, the smart kid's the one you have to use to get something from them.
Yes.
They're just, everyone's allowed to be intelligent, including the women. And then there's a weird thing in that Mitch is our lead. He is 15 years old and the actor was 15 years old.
Yeah.
And there's twice in the movie, like once Patty Darbanville plays a woman, Sherry, who her whole thing is sleeping with all the smartest minds.
I love the scene though where
and
he's like Professor Hotstedler or whatever. She's like, that's who I met last. And he's like, isn't he dead? And she's like, he is now. Like she basically
her whole thing is she's gonna sleep with all the top 10 minds.
She fucked him to death, you guys.
Yes. But even then it's not like evil. She just kind of, she's just like smart guys. I mean, that's her whole thing. But there's a scene where she flirts with Mitch and it's like, I looked it up. She was 34 at the time. Like, is she going to sleep with him? Like, he's a boy. He looks like a little boy. He's a child. But then, no, his love interest is going to be Michelle Meyrink, which is still kind of weird because she looks a lot older than him.
Yeah.
But it's very chaste. Everything is very, very chaste, which I appreciate. There's also the scene with the beauticians. I love the beauticians.
Margo.
The Wanda School of Beauty.
Margo. Student beauticians.
They might like us. They never met smart guys. You might impress them. That's the thing. Like nobody's made fun of.
This is your one chance in your life to have sex. I love where he says you might impress them, and then one of the nerds goes, "I don't see how." It's such a silly thing to say.
But they have fun. They have fun with it.
And they use their brains for like fun. Like he uses it to make a laser that advertises that party with the student beauticians, or like they make their dorm. They turn their dorm into like an ice rink, and then the ice like
I love the ice rink scene,
and it evaporates from solid straight to gas. And I love the ice. The scene where like Kent shows up and he says something assy to Mitch, and then Chris Knight says, see, I'm doing it already. He says, oh, Kent, that's so unfair. We were going to make you king of the winter carnival or something. Like my sister and I say shit like that to each other.
He's
all
like,
the
really?
Time. Really? There's just so many lines.
Val Kilmer, let's say also, Val Kilmer is adorable in this movie.
He is adorable.
He's so cute.
He's really, really, really cute in this movie. Val Kilmer in the 80s, he was a character actor with like a leading man look. Like he did this, he did even like you haven't seen it yet, but Top Gun, like he's doing a thing in Top Gun. I'm sure you've seen clips because Margo, you guys, has never seen
the teeth.
Yeah, she's never seen Top Gun, but I'm sure she's seen probably the whole movie just in pieces. What was the other one?
I think that and Dirty Dancing.
Yeah,
Top Secret.
Yeah, Top Secret. Oh my God, he's so funny in that movie.
I love Top Secret. That's another super funny movie we should talk about one day.
Yeah, that's definitely on the list.
That's an insane movie.
But
we talked about him when we talked about Doc Holliday. What's the movie I'm thinking of?
Tombstone.
Tombstone.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're big fans of him.
Yeah, and he's very hunky in this movie. And he's hilarious.
Super hunky.
He's just so hilarious. And there's also like these other like little random things that make me laugh throughout the movie. Like every time they cut to Dr. Hathaway's house, there's like a Great Dane on the property, and Hathaway's pissed off and he chases the dog off, like, get out of here, you know. Just and it happens over and over and over. Like, why is the dog at his house? I don't know. Like, it just keeps showing up there and he chases it off. Or he says to the laborers, you know, you should be laboring. What are you looking at? He's such a dick.
This is why you didn't go to college. Yeah, he's horrible. Well, we should explain who he is. So he's a professor at the school, and he has his own TV show, at like the Neil deGrasse Tyson of his time.
Yes.
But in their local community, and he has a contract with the U.S. government to develop a laser. And he got this huge grant, and he used the money to buy a house for himself and to redo his house. And he's just using the kids for labor, which apparently really does happen.
Oh, for
quite
sure.
a bit. Like, I'm not shocked. Yeah. So Chris Knight is a senior, and he wants to graduate. He was the smartest person until Mitch shows up. He's the one who has the highest IQ or the highest test scores. And he says to him, if you don't help me with this project, then I will flunk you. And for some reason, this totally freaks him out. Like, well, just go to another school. I don't understand the big deal, but he wants to finish school there. He wants to finish what he started. Kent's a guy who also works at the lab, and Kent's a total dick. Kent wears a dickie and has braces. And he like just layer, because he's traditionally a very handsome guy, but they make him really doofy.
Yeah, they give him these huge glasses, and then there's just a whole thing where, you know, he's supposed to refer to the professor as Professor Hathaway, but he keeps calling him Jerry, but he doesn't realize he's doing it. There's like this weird random thing. Another one of those weird random things. And Kent is really, he's jealous. He's jealous of Chris Knight. He wishes he was that cool. He wishes he was that smart. You know, so he lashes out at them. And I like how they get their revenge. That's what it is. Yeah, and they get their revenge on Kent, like I said, but once again, they don't wish harm on Kent. They just get their revenge because he does shitty things.
Well, Kent, he did a shitty thing. So poor Mitch, he's 15 years old. His parents just dump him at the school. And it's the 80s, you know, it's tough to make a long distance call. There's no emailing, you know, when you go away someplace, you're gone. And he's very young, and he's taking on all this responsibility. And he has like a moment where he kind of cracks, and he calls home, and his mom says, "Oh, sorry, we rented out your room." I think the parents are total dicks.
They're totally
he's crying
dumb
and upset.
They're so dumb.
Yeah, they're real dum-dums. They're total dum-dums. You wonder, because like Jerry even says, like, is he adopted? Like, what's going on here? but Kent records him crying on the phone, and then he plays it over the loudspeaker. So that's when Chris says to him, you have to get back at him. It's a moral imperative.
Yes.
And so they take Kent's little yellow car that he loves, and they jack it up and put it in his bedroom. So when he opens the door, the car's just like going up and down on the waterbed or whatever it is. I mean, it's hilarious.
And Kent, you're not supposed to park that here. It just makes me laugh every time. The movie just is pure joy to me. It's also
they just get great little one-liners.
Yeah, and it's so easy to watch. It's 100 minutes long, and it includes not one, not two, 3 montages, you guys. 3 super 80s montages where it's like they're studying or they're working on the laser, or like Mitch is running around the campus and he's like dropping his books and spilling papers, like
dropping his books everywhere.
Yeah, and like I'm like, dude, get a backpack. What the fuck? You
he
seem
drops
so
it.
smart.
One time he drops in front of Ken's car.
Yeah.
I remember Ken's behind the wheel of his car going like, move.
He's such an
asshole.
Mitch is so smart. How come he's not smart enough to get a fucking backpack? Come on, get a backpack.
I like the scene also where when he first goes to this one math class and the teacher's really boring, and graduate people just leave their tape recorders. And if you guys don't know what that is, I don't know how to explain it to you. Google it. But everybody leaves their boom box or whatever on their desk, and then at the end, the teacher just leaves one back.
Yeah. It's like
that's great. Little touches like that.
Yeah, there's just a lot of those things that throughout the movie that make me laugh. And then, like you mentioned, the one-liners, like, "Do you still run?" You know, and he's like, "Only when chased."
Only when chased.
I want to see more of you in the lab. Fine, I'll put on weight. Like, just stuff like that. And there's also a thing about Dr. Hathaway, Professor Hathaway, whatever his name is. He doesn't like popcorn. That's his whole thing. Like, he doesn't like popcorn. And then, like, Chris Knight's like, oh, good, now I know what to get you for your birthday. And it's just this random thing that comes back at the end. When they
love this.
Go ahead.
When they fill his house with popcorn.
Yes, they fill his house with popcorn seeds and then divert the laser to cook the popcorn and destroy his house with popcorn. It's amazing. I believe Mythbusters did an episode, and
yes, they did. And they said you can't just use one laser; it would take a lot of work to make that, and you couldn't make that much popcorn.
Yeah.
And they said that William Atherton said that they were making popcorn every day while on the set to like build up. But the problem was that the birds were going to get to eat it. So then they just ordered it from a place, and then they had to spray it with stuff so the birds wouldn't eat it. So it like really smelled. Like it was just this nightmare. He goes, nowadays you would just use CGI. You wouldn't even have to do anything. But then they had to really build a house and then destroy it with popcorn.
Which
like,
I think is amazing.
It's crazy.
It's amazing. I love it so much. Do you want to talk about No, go ahead.
Okay, well, I want to talk really quick. Well, one of the montages that I love, it's the studying montage. Mm-hmm. And it's a very 80s song that they're playing. Very, very 80s song. But there's a guy that they're in the library, and all of a sudden he just starts screaming. And just, and then he just leaves the room, and nobody even flinches. And then somebody just steals a seat, and everybody else is just like, all right.
Everyone's like,
it
happens all the time.
Well, during finals, your brain is like tapioca.
Yeah.
Like you can't fit anything else in. It's so stressful.
It's so stressful. I remember like that was not my favorite time of college, to say the least. We need to talk about the music. Not necessarily those 80s montage songs, although they're super 80s, but we also get All She Wants to Do Is Dance by Don Henley.
Which I love.
I used to love Don Henley. I mean, I might still love Don Henley.
He holds up.
Yeah.
He looks good.
We also got One Night Love Affair by Bryan Adams.
Yes.
Bryan Adams.
With the beauticians.
Yeah, with the student beauticians.
And then was it
Go ahead.
Sorry, I keep interrupting you. No. It's the Summertime Girls. What's the name of that band?
Summertime Girls.
Y&T.
Oh, God, yes.
Y&T. Holy shitballs. The Bay Area.
Yeah.
80s Bay Area, Y&T. Everybody thought they were going to make it one day. They were going to be as big as Van Halen. And their biggest song was Summertime Girls. And every time I see that song, like, oh my God, everyone trying to make Y&T happen.
It didn't happen.
For like 10 years. It never happened.
Nope. So sad. But 80s Bryan Adams was chef's kiss. Like,
I love Bryan Adams. He's great.
Me too. But and those songs are so good. Actually, I'm going to put some Bryan Adams on my playlist after this.
Yeah.
So also in this movie, we have Laszlo, which is the guy who is smarter than Chris and Mitch put together, who lives in their closet.
In the basement.
He has
a secret passageway through the closet. He was a student and then he kind of cracked because it was too much pressure. And I love the scene where Mitch finds the thing. It just says, "You are here." Or what does it say? Like, this is it?
This is it. I'm like, who's that for? Did Laszlo write that because he knows people are going to follow him? I guess. I don't know.
And does he send the thing that he gets in? Does it go back up again, like automatically? I don't know. But he gets in a little bumper car kind of thing, and he goes downstairs, and that's where he sees Laszlo, and that's when we find out he's a guy that's very eccentric and not a misanthrope, but just somebody who kind of doesn't want to be around too many people. He just he needs to take his time. But what he likes to do with his spare time is he enters this contest with Frito-Lay. And he sent in, he just all these postcards. They used to have contests where they say, enter as often as you like. And then, of course, brainiacs like this figured out, oh, well, then I'll send 1 million of them in and I'll win something.
Yeah.
And so that's why he's there to win prizes. And then, so he slowly gets coaxed out with these kids because they do develop we're going to spoil here. They develop the laser for Jerry, and it goes through the quad and it goes through everywhere, and it's great. But that's when he's the one that says to them, well, wait a second, what are you really developing? And that's when they realize that they're helping to develop a weapon. And the weapon would then shoot from space, could hit just an individual target. So you don't have to like destroy a whole village. You could just take one person out.
Mm-hmm.
But they were like, well, that's not what we're here for. I'm just here to go to school.
Yeah. I'm kind of, it's so funny that they're working on this laser. They really hadn't thought about what it would be used for. Once again,
No.
really smart kids, but didn't think about that, which is fine. It's a movie.
They're
you
not.
gotta let
But
it
it's a
slide.
movie, but they're not gonna know what adults are gonna do with it. They're kids.
Yeah.
Like they're not gonna be that cynical. They're just like they like the idea of, ooh, this is a challenge that people say no one can do. So I'm gonna figure it out and I'll
Mhm.
get the credit. Right.
I love that Laszlo is using his brain to enter the Frito-Lay sweepstakes over and over, and he's actually calculated, like, I should win 32.6% of the prizes. This is before McMillions, you guys. He didn't know.
Yes.
He didn't know it was rigged.
I like the one time where he's talking and then Mitch leaves the room and goes, he's a nice guy. He's going to grow 6 inches next year. Like, how would he know that?
Do you think the people behind Real Genius thought that the visiting Laszlo's lair would be a ride at like Universal Studios? And that's why all of that is there?
I wish they had it at Universal Studios. I would probably finally go.
I would totally go on it. This is it. And then I would get in the little car and I'd go down and watch Laszlo filling out his Frito-Lay sweepstakes things over and over. I'd be into it.
No, I go to the burger place with everybody, that bar where people like on one side are fighting and the other side they're just having burgers and sitting like nothing's going on. Like it's.
By the way, that totally
great.
looks like a college place.
Yes.
It 100% looks like a college place. So we also have, so we already talked about Sherry, who's running around sleeping with all the smartest people in the world. William Atherton, who is playing, I mean, he made such a career out of playing assholes like this in the 80s. So he did Real Genius. He's in Ghostbusters as the guy who's
right. That's right.
Who's running
that's
the
right.
EPA.
This man has no dick.
Yeah, this man has no dick. And I believe he's also an asshole in Die Hard. Is that right?
He is the asshole in Die Hard. Yes.
That was his
the
thing.
Asshole reporter. He's so great at it, though.
Yeah,
I'm sure probably he's the nicest person ever. I'm sure if you met him in real life, he'd be super nice.
Right. I can't believe he didn't play the principal in Breakfast Club. Like, it seems like he would have been the natural person for that. He's such a dick. He's so good at it.
Yeah.
Let's see. So they discovered that their laser is killing people. And then they want to know more about what it's going to be used for. So they put a device in Kent's braces.
That's my favorite scene.
They basically turning his head into a speaker. And then they pretend to be Jesus. It's just so funny to me. It's like, what do you think, tracking laser is for? And like all this stuff. And then my father God wants you to do this blank, whatever thing. And then at the end, and stop playing with yourself. It is God. It's just such a silly thing. But once again, so funny and not harmful. Like they don't like kick his ass or, it's none of that sort of thing. It's just smart people doing smart things. It's one of the things I love about it.
So they go to the Air Force base, and so Jordan, she makes them the ID passes. I still love it to this day. Chris is like, these are terrible. Mine looks like him and his look like mine. I don't know why that always makes me laugh. There's just so many great lines in here.
It's the most quotable movie ever.
It really is. And they managed to go in and get into the computer. And it's so funny now to watch it. Like, what program were they using? What internet were they using? What, whatever this was, but CompuServe, whatever the hell it was. But they are able to take. So for the test that they're going to do, they move the target to be Jerry's house. And when Jerry's gone, they put in all this popcorn, like a big Jiffy popcorn thing into his house. So then Kent goes to the house.
Yeah, they tell Kent to go to the house as Jesus.
As Jesus. And then the popcorn starts popping and exploding. And like we said, like they don't want anything to happen to him. Like they make sure he's okay. They make sure he gets out and that he's okay. But Jerry's house is destroyed.
Yes, and all the kids in the neighborhood show up and are like, yeah, popcorn.
They're taking popcorn.
Which, by the way,
and
I would totally do.
Wants to rule the world. Yes, absolutely. I love popcorn.
Yeah, me too. I worked at movie theaters forever. I never got tired of eating popcorn. It's so good. And yeah, and then they play Everybody Wants to Rule the World, which is a dope song. I love that song so much.
I listen to that song to this day, and it's always welcome. I always enjoy it.
It's such a good song. It's such a good song. And it's such a funny ending. Like, just, and then we filled his house with popcorn and ruined his house. The end.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's the scene over the credits where, you know, Dr. Hathaway comes home and his house is destroyed, and the dog is still the dog is there. I'm like, of course the dog is there. It's just, once again, like a stupid little thing that makes me laugh. And but he doesn't actually shoo the dog away this time, which, you know, maybe he's like, oh, the dog is here to comfort me. It's just such a funny, like pleasant, easy movie to watch. It is one of my comfort movies. It makes me laugh out loud really hard every time I watch it. My husband won't watch it with me because I say it out loud a lot. I
know, I do the same thing.
I don't mean to. I just can't help myself. And I try not to do it like right before they say it, but sometimes I say it right when they say I'm a real dick, basically is what I'm saying. So I watch it alone. But they were doing a screening at the Castro Theater here in San Francisco, and I missed it. And I'm like, that might be for the best, because they might have asked me to leave, because I would have been saying
or everybody's going to do it too.
Yeah, that's actually probably how I'd find my people.
Yeah,
that's where my people are. I love this movie. Did I mention that? That I love this movie?
No, it's also like for a movie made in 1985, it stays funny. They don't look weird 80s fashion. I mean, everybody's sort of, it's not anachronistic. It doesn't look weird. Like the song, I mean, the music is a little bit, but everyone is not, almost everybody is nice. Everyone's smart. No one's embarrassed to be smart. No one tries to, except for the dicky pitbull people, but they don't try to hurt each other. They encourage one another. It's about friendship, and it's about like being resourceful, and it's a nice little film. It's not sexist. It's not homophobic. It's not racist. Like it doesn't rely on any of that humor, which is shocking for the 80s.
Yeah, it's actually, it's like the rare like 80s teen comedy that doesn't involve sexual assault. Like,
right.
It's really, really good. And it's diverse too. Like there are, you know, African American people in this movie. There are Asian people in this movie. It really holds up, I think. I mean, the technology, you know, the computers, maybe, you know, no, it's not going to hold up, but it's just such a funny movie.
Yeah, it's a good script. It's the sight gags are really funny. Like she gets comedy, really well. Like the ice skating scene, I always cracks with the kids falling down the stairs as he's talking. That always makes me laugh every single time. It's just so well done, and it's just well cast. Everybody's really good. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, Martha Coolidge, between this and Valley Girl, she should be working all the time. I don't know why she didn't make like a million of these comedies. I appreciate so much the insight into younger people. Like these people aren't It's the same for Valley Girl. Like they're not stereotypes. They feel like real people.
Yeah.
Even though that they're insanely smart, and maybe we don't know people who are that smart, but they still feel like real people. She's so good.
Yeah.
Martha Coolidge, you should be working way more than you do. Do we have anything else we want to say about this perfect movie?
It's perfect. It's perfect. If you haven't seen it before, check it out. It's just a nice slice of the 80s. Val Kilmer's gorgeous. Michelle Mayrink's adorable. I
So
mean,
cute.
she's so adorable. Honestly, you guys, like it's just I don't know. I love his T-shirt. I love Toxic Waste. so, so funny.
It's just such a. It's just yeah. It's just so hilarious. It is one of my, like I said, it's one of my favorite comedies, and it's the movie that I love to recommend to people the most. I love recommending this movie to people. So at my job, we actually, because everyone's quarantining and working from home, and everyone was looking for movie recommendations, and everyone was putting their movies on the list, and I put Real Genius, and some people from my office immediately like went and watched Real Genius, and they were like, this shit's this movie's fucking awesome. And I was like, I know, it's the best. Like they were like, I've never heard. Some of them are younger, so of course they had never really heard of it. I think Revenge of the Nerds was kind of like, it's the movie that people still talk about. It
and
was
Weird Science.
Yeah, and Weird Science, and it was, especially Revenge of the Nerds. Oh, TNT, like USA, like all the time. Revenge of the Nerds, and I don't think Real Genius had like that kind of level of success. I think it's starting to find its people now. People are starting to recommend it more, and I see more tweets about it, and I'm like, yeah, that person fucking gets it, because that movie's it really is genius.
It's so much better than Weird Science. I know everybody likes Weird Science, but it's like but Weird Science has some weird racist shit going on. It's got very sexist. I mean, the way Kelly LeBrock is used and objectified, and
we need to put that movie on the list.
We do. It's just there's a lot of weirdness with that. I mean, at the time, I thought that it wasn't as funny as people thought it was. I don't know. I think this movie's Real Genius is 10 times funnier.
For sure.
Like it has real jokes.
Yeah, it has exactly. Once again, another example of a comedy that actually has jokes. We recently did an episode on The Birdcage. And that's another one, like a movie, like an actual comedy that has jokes. Imagine that. By the way, the funniest thing in Weird Science is Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
It's like, thou make yourself one, dickweed. Like, it's like he's the funniest thing in the movie. Actually, we should put it on the list, and because I think that would be a really good discussion. But I'll try not to quote Bill Paxton the whole time. For Christ's sake, will you cover yourself? I love him in that movie, but it's not a good movie. Do you want to hear some other movies that came out in '85?
Absolutely.
I actually don't know if we've done '85 before, so I did the top 10 movies. So number 10 is Spies Like Us.
Oh, God. I used to love that movie. Oh, my God.
I suspect it's not as funny as you remember.
I saw Paul McCartney in concert, oh, God, like 10 or 15 years ago. And my friend's husband was being such a dick. And people were requesting songs. He just kept going, Spies Like Us, Spies Like Us. That made me laugh.
I saw MC Hammer in concert one year at the by the way, I don't know why Hammer was playing the Hardly Strictly Bluegrass Festival.
No.
But he was there, and he played the song from Addams Family. And I thought that was the fucking funniest thing ever. I was like, really? Like, Hammer has tons of hits. But he did the one from Addams Family, so you never know. Number 9 is Goonies.
Yep.
Which I don't think you're not a fan, correct?
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's just some things just my younger siblings love that movie.
Yeah. I don't know if I could watch it without the rose-colored or like the nostalgia glasses.
Right.
Like 14-year-old Sonia loved the Goonies and thought Sean Astin was the cutest thing ever, because he is.
He is.
Number 8, Witness.
I love Witness. I've seen that so many times.
So good.
Such a good movie.
Number 7, speaking of movies that aren't good, Jewel of the Nile.
Oh,
so disappointing.
I love the first one.
Romancing the
Stone is one of my favorite movies ever.
Romancing the Stone is a
dope.
perfect movie. It's a
yes. Is that on our list?
It must be. If it isn't, we should do it. We should do it soon because I would love to rewatch it. It's a perfect movie, and I will fight anyone who says different.
I feel the same way.
But Jewel of the Nile, not very good.
No.
And it had the Billy Ocean song, the like when the going
when
gets
the going gets
tough, the tough get going. And it had the video with like Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner and like Danny DeVito pretending to sing backup. It is a terrible video. You guys should Google that shit. It's really bad. Number 6, Cocoon.
I love Cocoon. We should probably put that on our list too, because I'm sure it's cheesy as shit. But Brian Dennehy died.
I know.
Our old man crush.
R.I.P. Brian Dennehy. We're not joking. We're not being sarcastic. We both legit had old man crushes on Brian Dennehy. We really, really loved him. Such a bummer. So sad that he passed away. And we should put Cocoon on the list.
Yes.
Which is great. You know, people love to point out that Wilford Brimley in that movie is the same age as Tom Cruise now.
Yep.
It's so weird. When was Wilford Brimley ever young?
I have no idea, but he was old in The Firm, and The Firm was like 25 years ago. Yeah.
So weird. Yeah. Dude's always been old.
And he's also into cockfighting. Like, he was trying to legalize cockfighting.
Ew,
like,
what?
I know.
Did he know it was about chickens, or did he think it was something else?
No, he's from Utah or something like that. And he was like, in some places, it's not that big of a deal. And I'm like, what, to put razors on animals to make them fight each other? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
How do you make that your cause? You know what people need? Cockfighting.
Yes.
What the fuck? Fuck that. Go back to selling oatmeal, Wilford Brimley. So number 5 is Out of Africa.
Boring.
Oh my God. I saw Out of Africa in the theater and I fell asleep. It is one of my friend's like favorite movies. She super loves it. And I still haven't rewatched it.
No, thank you.
Yeah. Number 4 is The Color Purple.
Oh, I love The Color Purple. The last 20 minutes of that movie makes me bawl my fucking eyes out. I need ugly cry.
Yeah, same. Number 3 is Rocky 4.
It's the best Rocky.
See, I think Rocky 3 is the best Rocky with Mr.
I'm a
T.
4 person.
I get it.
I'm a 4 person.
I think it's so funny, like, because people, objectively, you could go, oh, Rocky's the best movie, right? But if everyone looks in their heart, their favorites are really 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And if
Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah, don't lie to yourself, people. It's just your favorite is 3 or 4. It's everybody's favorite. It's fine. Just admit it. Number 2 is Rambo First Blood Part 2. Which I haven't seen since like the theater. Probably.
No, I haven't seen it in years.
That movie made so much fucking money. It was ridiculous. Like, people saw it many, many times. But that's pretty crazy. Stallone, like the top 2 movies right there. And then number 1 was Back to the Future, which
I love.
Come on. Once again, another perfect movie.
Perfect movie. Perfect 3-act movie.
Yeah, it's the movie that apparently they use the script in like screenwriting classes because it's perfect. It really is.
I agree. So do you want to hear some of the top songs of 85?
Yeah, I do.
So we'll start with Tears for Fears. Everybody Wants to Rule the World. It's one of the greatest songs ever.
So good.
Simple Minds, Don't You Forget About Me. Great song.
Awesome song.
Dire Straits, Money for Nothing.
That song was so overplayed.
Oh my God. And it also like has the F word in there, which you couldn't do now.
No.
Phil Collins. Phil Collins was a rock star. That's how weird the 80s was. This balding, short, pale English guy. Mm-hmm. His song, Studio. Remember that?
That song is catchy as fuck. I will say that.
I make fun of him. I like Phil Collins.
Yeah,
I'll say that. I'm white.
And Easy Lover. That's some catchy shit. Yeah.
You Got a Groovy Kind of Love. Remember he did that?
Yeah. That was
sweet.
That song was sweet.
Prince, Raspberry Beret.
Song's awesome.
DeBarge, Rhythm of the Night. I love that song.
Oh, DeBarge, you were a thing.
And we'll end it with Corey Hart, Never Surrender.
Such a high school like slow dance song.
Such a makeout song.
Total makeout song. Corey Hart. He was a thing too.
He was handsome.
He was handsome. That's true. Good
And
point.
Canadian.
That I did not know.
He's Canadian.
I learned something today. What else are you dorking out about?
So last night I saw a movie I've been dying to see. You know, we're all quarantined as we're recording this. If you're from the future,
Yeah.
can you contact us and let us know when this shit's gonna stop?
Oh,
I really
know.
love that. I hate to talk about it all the time because I don't want to date the show, but it's going to be going on anyway. It's called The Assistant, and it's written and directed by Kitty Green, and it's she wrote and directed Casting JonBenet, which I wasn't that big of a fan of. But it's a movie about a woman played by Julia Garner. She was in Ozark, which I haven't seen. She was in Dirty John, which I did see. And she plays a woman who's an assistant to a movie producer. And it's basically the Harvey Weinstein story. I had friends that worked at Miramax. They get the office culture down perfect. I don't know. If you don't have an interest in it, it might seem slow because literally it's a day in this life of this woman. And she's like answering emails and she's cleaning up the office and she's making, women are coming in and out of the place. But when you know the subtext, it's eerie as shit. It's really well done. There's a couple of times where she has to email her boss to apologize. And I think an average person, if they don't know the industry or they haven't worked with a boss like that, they'd be like, what's the big deal? But I know what it's like to work with somebody that's really temperamental and nuts and having to kind of grovel a little bit to kind of get on their good side so that you don't get yelled at that day or whatever. And it's just, it gets New York really well. It gets that time period really well. Like I said, I had friends who worked for Harvey Weinstein. So I know crazy shit.
Yeah.
Like, come and get me. But I know some shit. There's a scene where the woman has to clean his office and he has hypodermic needles on the floor and she cleans them up. I'm like, but she's not wearing gloves. It's like now gloves and a mask for everything.
Yeah.
But she has to like pick up his drugs and all of his other stuff and she has to move and it's like an hour and a half. I just thought it was really interesting. It's a really interesting, dark movie. It's not a feel-good movie like Real Genius. It's not going to put you in that kind of a mood. But if you're into something kind of somber and dark, and I did the Dana Buckler thing last night, so I turned all the lights out, every single light.
You gave yourself a movie experience.
I gave myself the movie experience, and I read it, and some people are giving it 1 or 2 stars on Amazon because those people are usually morons, and I need things to blow up or I'm not entertained.
Right.
I just let the movie happen, and I thought it was like eerily accurate. Just the scarf she has around her, like they get the little details right.
All right.
And so I thought it was really interesting.
And it's on Amazon?
It's renting right now. It's streaming everywhere.
Okay. I will put it on my list.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll give myself a movie-going experience. We're going to do that tonight with Calvin, with my son. I think we're going to watch Kiki's Delivery Service, which is this Miyazaki movies. He did like Princess Mononoke and Spirited Away and My Friend Totoro.
Oh, yeah.
There's one called Kiki's Delivery Service, and it's about like a little girl who is a witch, and she like delivers bread and stuff like that. It's really, really cute.
It's got bread. That's why.
That's the only reason I care. I just want to eat the bread. And it's got like a little black cat. I feel like it might be the most accessible of those movies to start with an 8-year-old. So I think that's our big plan tonight. So I wanted to mention 2 things that I'm kind of dorking out about. Did you watch the Parks and Rec reunion on Thursday night?
No, I didn't.
I forget. Did you watch that show?
I watched it sometimes. I wasn't like a regular viewer.
If anyone wants to watch it, just start with season 2 when Rob Lowe and Adam Scott join and go from there. I super love that show. And then the reunion they did on Thursday night. So it would have been, this is coming out on Sunday. So it would have been last week. And it was like visiting with old friends. It was all about the coronavirus, about social distancing. It's all about like, they're all on like Zoom calls, calling each other. And I was just so happy to see them all. They got everybody back for it, including Chris Pratt. I mean, he's like one of the biggest stars in the world now. And
yeah, I got a Schwarzenegger pregnant.
good job, Chris Pratt. It was so good to see them, and I thought it was really, really funny. It was like a warm hug, that reunion. I loved watching it. But then the other one that I wanted to bring up, and I know that you probably already knew I was going to bring it up, is the Beastie Boys story on Apple Plus.
So good.
I'm a huge Beastie Boys fan, and I have been since Licensed to Ill, which I think came out in '86, so I would have been 15. So like every time I see I've seen them in concert a few times when I watch their videos or whatever. Like I totally regress to like 15, like 16-year-old Sonia, and I'm just such a fangirl. And I loved this. It's a documentary on Apple Plus. It's directed by Spike Jonze, and it's them just kind of telling their story. So if you've read their book or anything, like some of it would be familiar, but I just loved watching it. It got me really teary in a couple things, because obviously, MCA is no longer with us, and he's a huge part of the band, and fuck cancer. Fuck cancer.
He had such a great low voice. Like he had that growl. He was that bass. Yeah.
Yeah, he was my favorite always because of that voice. Like I loved that voice always. I thought it was really sexy. I was into, before I kind of knew what sexy was, because I was only 15, but I was into it. But I love that it confirms for me that they really were friends. I was kind of blown away by how they stuck together through everything. I loved hearing about like their process, how they worked on things together, how they evolved the band from just like kind of a joke to something really ahead of its time. Like an album like Paul's Boutique was which
loved Paul's Boutique. Oh my God, yes.
Which nobody loved at the time. Like some people, like we were like, that's great, I loved it, and then years later you're like, no, I super love it, it's my favorite. But at the time, like people, I guess they wanted more Licensed to Ill, and so they were disappointed, and it didn't make a lot of money. But an album like that, it couldn't even be made today, like all the samples, and it would be so expensive. But like how they were able to progress from like a joke like Cookie Puss or Fight for Your Right to Party to what they were doing later, with like what was the one of the last ones, Hello Nasty, and the Five Boroughs to the something, I think it was called Five Boroughs or To the Boroughs. I'm sorry. I am a huge fan, but I forget the name of that album. I just listen. I don't always read.
I just listen. I don't know what the album they're on, but I just like listen to the music.
Like, and just that progression is fascinating to me. And they're just like, they're naturally funny dudes. And
they're pretty down to earth too.
Yeah.
Considering like they've been famous for 35 years or whatever. And like on a cool level, like they're cool to people, and they just seem like regular guys.
Yeah.
And they just seem like nice guys from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Like, as they are.
Yeah.
MC, they have his park is near my apartment.
Aww.
Next time you come out, we'll go out there.
Yeah, and then I'll cry a little bit.
Yeah, I used to What You Want? What you want? Yeah. Let it flow like a mudslide. I would play that over. I would drive my roommates crazy. I play that over and over again.
I
love
listen
that song.
to Shake Your Rump a couple times a week for sure. Like it's one of my favorite songs. It makes me
Sabotage.
Yeah. And Sabotage is like the best video ever made for sure.
Ever.
Like it makes me laugh every time. I was just so happy to like relive the music, hear their stories, and you really do feel like these are two old friends like that still clearly love each other.
Right.
Like the way that they interact with each other and like laugh at each other's jokes, and it was just a goddamn joy to watch basically. It made me happy.
If they filmed it at King's Theater in Brooklyn, which they've just sort of reopened a few years ago. It looks great, and it's on Apple Plus. If you guys don't know,
yeah, and if you don't get Apple Plus, I mean, I think you can even watch it for free. I think they're using it as kind of a gateway,
gateway drug to get to the app.
Exactly. Like, hey, watch the Beastie Boys story and stay for the rest. So do it. You won't be sorry. It's really, really great. In fact, been entertaining, the idea of watching it again.
One of my favorite second songs to play in my workout classes when I was teaching was check it out.
That's a good one too.
Oh, he was all over that. MC was all over that. I mean, just they have such great music.
They do. I just remember hearing that he died because I think he died on May 4th. I think the anniversary's coming up. I remember I was at work when I heard, and I actually started crying in my cube.
Aww.
By the way, the same thing happened when Prince died. I started crying in my cube, and I was like, I'm going home. I'm out of here. Like the MCA hit me really hard at the time. Like I think I was maybe a year or two out from my first cancer diagnosis. I hate saying first. So I think like there was something about it that hit me particularly hard, but also it's a little piece of, I don't know, my younger life.
No, we were teenagers when they were popular, and that's something that kind of stays with you forever.
Yeah.
You know, and that's stuff that brings you pleasure and joy, and it's yours, it's your generation, it's your group. Yeah.
Oh,
and they're very New York. Yeah.
They're so New York. They're awesome. I love them so much. Where can people find you on the internet, Margo?
You can find me on social media at Brooklyn Fitchick, and my blog is brooklynfitchick.com.
And it's newly redesigned, and it looks fabulous.
Doesn't it look great? I'm so excited about it.
It looks so good. And you can hear both of us at What a Creep. That's our other podcast where we talk about creeps. Right now, the episode out is about Roy Cohn. I think it might be our funniest episode yet.
I have to say, I cracked up. And it's us.
It's because he's so ugly. He's so ugly,
so awful.
Inside and out. Yeah, he's terrible. But anyway, that's our other show, and we end every episode with someone who's not a creep so that you don't feel the whole world's like a dumpster fire. We also have a Patreon page for that. You should check it out. It's very, very fun. And you can find me at thesoniashow.com and The Sonia Show on Twitter and Instagram and sometimes Facebook. Although Facebook doesn't let me share my blog posts there because apparently I don't meet the community standards.
Which is bizarre.
I'm like, what the fuck? Literally, what I write on my blog is like, and then Calvin and I made a cake, and here's some beer that David and I are drinking. And I'm like, I don't know what on my blog doesn't meet community standards, but whatever. Go to thesoniashow.com. And you can find Dorking Out wherever you listen to podcasts. You're listening right now. We're at dorkingout.com, Dorking Out Show on Twitter and Facebook. And you can email us at dorkingoutshow@gmail.com. And we have stickers. So if you want some stickers, email us. And you can, or slide into our DMs, and we'll send you some stickers. They're really cute. And I think that's everything. Thanks for talking about one of my all-time favorite movies.
Thank you so much for picking it. It's like the perfect time that we need something like this. And once again, just pure pleasure. It's so much fun.
Yeah, it's so fun. And I think the young people like it when we get down verbally. Don't you?